Yup, welcome back, and today we're going to go through my reasons for buying this here beautiful brand new Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Special Edition, the third bike for this channel at the moment. So those of you who are regular viewers to the channel will be aware that I have a Honda ST1300 Pan-European, absolutely split mint, immaculate, low mileage bike, 20-year-old, absolutely beautiful. And I also have a Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650, the Celestial Red model. And over the last month or so, I've been looking to identify an appropriate bike to be the third bike for the channel. And I've been through just about every permutation you can imagine. And please excuse my production assistant there, Eddie, from walking in and out of shot from time to time. So I've really undergone the usual tour de force when it comes to reasoning as to what would be the right decision for me and the right decision for this here channel. And as with all motorcycle purchases, I suspect mine was an affair of the heart rather than an affair of the brain. And I said a few episodes back that in looking to get a third bike, an additional bike, I would probably see one that leapt from the screen at me or leapt out in real life, in the flesh at me, and I would have no need at all to reflect upon the practical considerations that often go with arriving at a, shall we say, logical conclusion. And this is the very bike. I've always loved Moto Guzzis, and I've always actually been charmed by the way they orientate the V-twin engine here. So instead of in line, so it's laterally mounted. In fact, the last bike, I think, other than a Moto Guzzi that I saw with that configuration, was the old Honda plastic maggot, if you remember that. CX500 was it? Back in the day. So these engines are mounted the same way. Now, I think these engines came out with Moto Guzzi in the 60s, around about 67, if memory serves, and they've been going strong ever since then. They're a tried and trusted unit, pretty much bomb-proof, pushrod engine, air-cooled, so no cam belts or chains or bevel drives going on or anything like that. Hello boy. So proper old school V-twin engine, and in this bike, this is brand new, it's the 2023 model. This is 850cc, the previous ones were 750cc. So this is a bit up on brake horsepower. In fact, this is a little bit more up on brake horsepower because it gets an extra horse courtesy of that there Moto Guzzi stroke Arrow collaboration exhaust that's fitted to this model and this model alone, but is available as an additional extra on the other Moto Guzzis. Now, when I first sort of started scenting out the Moto Guzzi V7, my mind was more or less set upon the V7 Special, because the one that came out in 2021 was in a beautiful blue and silver colour. But you can't get that anymore, well, not brand new, because the Moto Guzzi V7 Classic now is available either in a sort of white, red and grey colour, or it's available in a black and silver colour. And both look very nice, but when I actually inadvertently dropped on this bike and saw it for the first time, I just thought that ticks every single one of my boxes. And a lot of people who are, shall we say, modern classic purists take issue with the offset LCD dash and take issue with the fact that this is running standard cast wheels with tubeless tyres rather than spoked wheels. But I can absolutely live with that, because it gives this a sort of roughy-tufty, purposeful look that perhaps the other model doesn't have. Other model has a slightly more refined, more truly modern classic style to it. But this is retro enough for me, and I just think it's a perfect blend, in my mind, of the modern and the vintage. So I'm going to take a look around the bike. That were my rationale for getting this. But I think these bikes, these Moto Guzzi V7s, and the V7 is, I think I'm right in saying, Moto Guzzi's best-selling motorcycle of the range. These bikes, I think, are an absolute unsung hero. And the character, when you fire this engine up, believe me, and aided admirably by these Arrow exhausts, is just a joy to behold. It's an order of magnitude more characterful than, dare I say it, a Triumph or a Royal Enfield or a similar retro wannabe motorcycle. This is proper DNA down in the roots character from way back in the sort of 60s and 70s and maybe earlier. Fantastic. So I'm going to take a look around the bike. A bit about Moto Guzzi, obviously an Italian brand, dates back to 1921. In fact, obviously in 2021 they had their centenary, and a lot of their bikes they did in centenary colours, which are like a green and silver grey sort of colour scheme. Fantastic. Yeah, and the longest running continually manufactured motorcycle brand in Europe. So the oldest continually running motorcycle brand in Europe, and since 1921 they have gone through mixed fortunes but survived. They've been in and out of ownership from different parent companies, currently owned by Piaggio, but obviously retaining their own individual Moto Guzzi identity. So why does this bike pluck my heartstrings? Well, let's go have a look through some of the individual features, and perhaps you'll understand my rationale. Let's take a look. Right, so let's start with the engine on this fantastic motorcycle here, and this is the legendary Moto Guzzi air-cooled V-twin pushrod engine. And in this bike, 850 cc's, there or thereabouts, and putting out on this bike 66 brake horsepower, which is just short of 1 horsepower more than the other models in the 2023 range, and that's courtesy of the Moto Guzzi Arrow exhaust there. Also got a little bit more torque, but it's a very, very torquey engine, and it's mapped so that you feel all the power in the mid-range where it counts, of course. And it's got that typical twitch to the right that you get when you blip the throttle on this engine, similar to what you get with the BMW Boxer engines, but a little bit more noticeable, I would say. I used to have a 21 plate BMW R9T Classic which did that, and that bike were a good bit more expensive than this. But this ticks far more boxes for me than ever that bike did. But anyway, at its centre is this fantastic legendary bomb-proof engine which has its roots in the 1960s. I think it was 1967 when this engine came into being, and since then it hasn't changed dramatically. So having talked about the engine, let's have a look at what makes this particular variant, the V-Stone Special Edition, a special edition. Well, the first thing is that colour scheme. The standard V-Stone models all have an all matte colour scheme, but this one has a gloss black tank and side panels and a mudguard with red and silver accents, and I think black and red is one of those legendary motorcycle colour combinations that seem to work every time. So yeah, lovely there, black with red accents. So the first thing really to point out is the Moto Guzzi stroke Arrow exhaust there, and A beautiful looking thing, that exhaust. As I'd said previously, it has a practical advantage as well, in that it gives the bike just short of an extra horsepower, but I mean aesthetically that's finished really well indeed and blends in perfectly with the rest of the colours on the bike. And while we're in this neck of the woods, on this special edition model you get there a red rear shock absorber, well, ×2 of course, one at the other side, and again a lovely little accent there, which is a nod to Moto Guzzi's sporting heritage, such as it is. On the side panel there you've got a red V7 stone badge, and that looks very trick indeed. The overall trim is a black sort of Cerakote finish on all the engine parts there, and then there's that sort of grey magnesium type coating colour on the cylinder head there, and I think that looks a little bit steampunk, doesn't it? But it really does blend in well. So up here at the front of the bike, well, this model comes with bar end mirrors, and even they're still with the plastic coating on, and yeah, I think they really suit this bike. Obviously available as an option on the other models, on the standard stone and the special, but come as standard with this special edition bike. Also, nice little finishing touch there with that there Moto Guzzi V7 special edition badge on the handlebar clamp, and there, of course, the infamous dash dial. It is LCD, it's offset, and it offends some people for some reason. I can live with that all day long. It doesn't give me a problem at all. I think it, with this particular model of the bike, I think it probably is a little bit more appropriate than perhaps the analogue dials on the special. All the handlebar controls are fairly standard. I won't insult your intelligence by going through them, but when we fire the bike up, we can have a look at what comes up on the display there and what options you've got. Going around to the front, we have an LED headlight and LED indicators. In fact, this bike is LEDs all round, and the DRL, the daylight running light on this bike, is in the middle there, and it's the Moto Guzzi eagle emblem shape there. Very, very fetching indeed. Standard right way around forks, and moving to the rear of the bike, we can see again some very stylish LED indicators and tail light there. Cool. And not unique to Moto Guzzi, but I would suggest on a bike of this sort of size, fairly unique, is the shaft drive. So no chain maintenance necessary on this bike. So it don't come with a centre stand, but actually you certainly don't need one for chain maintenance purposes, that's for sure. Okay, so that's the LCD display that you get, and I think it looks absolutely fine. The top half there, yes I do, We've got the rev counter to the left, gear indicator to the right, digital readout of speed, and bottom left and right there you've got fuel data, and the mode button on the handlebar allows you to cycle through. Right, hope that was of some interest to you. Just a little trip around this new Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Special Edition, the new bike for this channel. And this bike will be featuring heavily in the new year once I have fitted the crash bars and the Givy luggage. So I'm looking forward to that very much indeed. I absolutely love this to bits. As retro motorcycles go, I've not come across a more faithful one. In my 4 decades of motorcycling, I've not come across a more faithful, modern classic, retro, characterful motorcycle that engages so meaningfully with the feelings of motorcycling back in the 1950s, 60s and 70s. This bike absolutely ticks all of those boxes for me. This bike I got from MSC Motorcycles in Nottingham. They sell scooters and Italian motorcycles basically, and the bikes are quite decently discounted at the moment. Now this is the most expensive of the V7s. And I got this bike for £8,200 on the road, which I think is an absolute bargain. Not much more than a Royal Enfield Super Meteor Celestial, if you think about it. Not that much more, and certainly cheaper than the Triumph Bonneville range, and to my mind, better looking. So there. So yeah, MSC Motorcycles. I think the V7 specials are 7,500, and this the V7 Stone special, £8,200 on the road. So if you're interested, go have a look at MSC Motorcycles in Nottingham. You can speak to Alfie down there, who looked after me, and what a cracking service. I have to say it's one of the best experiences I've had when it's come to getting hold of a bike. And they brought it up here all the way from Nottingham for me. And I'm 100% happy with it. What an absolute fantastic bike. I can't begin to tell you how excited I am. If you can get excited at 61 years of age to be taking this bike on the road in due course. So there you go, MSC Motorcycles in Nottingham. Cheers Alfie, cracking job. Right, I think that's about it for today. Stick around and stay tuned to the channel though, because I've got a Christmas quiz for you coming up at the weekend. So on the weekend's video, which will probably be Sunday morning, I'll have a cracking little 10-question quiz for you, and a little prize for anybody that can get all 10 right, but I bet none of you can. There's a challenge for you, and the answers will be on the following Thursday's video. So Christmas Eve morning, Sunday morning, stick around, stay tuned, make sure you don't miss that quiz. 10 really teasing questions for you, with a bit of a link to the channel and a bit of an emphasis on modern classic motorcycles. So until the next time then, ride safe, be kind, and I'll see you.